again. Okay, so yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to the open mic. I'm Keith Gabry, and I'm gonna start off by reading a couple poems, and then from there, if you want to read, poetry, fiction, nonfiction, whatever, however you want to share your creative work with us today. I'm just asking that each writer keep it to around 3 to 4 minutes, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, so I have a couple poems I'm going to read, and that are a little more eco related. So I thought that would be appropriate. We're burning up prehistoric forests in our steel car, propelling us in the present towards a canopy of squawking. Encased within dead cow luxury, we sit as a little tree's air freshener swings, and I squeeze the pedal through a redwood tunnel. A red-tailed hawk swoops elevation above our premium oil navigation. Will this forest still be squawking in 50 years? Or will our aging grandchildren step through a skeleton of ecology? At last, we park our car, exit air conditioning for a shove of unfiltered air, pushed by the atmosphere we're slowly killing. Thank you. Um, and this is the second poem I'll read. In the fire afterlife, the great Chicago fire of 1871, the great Boston fire of 1872, and the great San Francisco fire of 1906, crowds the chemical space of my great grandma's kitchen fire of 1977. Flames climbed her walls like rats before red teeth gnawed into her skin. Shall we call this fire great or a lesser label that only collapsed one life? When I clenched my eyes shut into a temporary death, I see the ghosts of urban fires extinguish my kin's grease ignited inferno. So thank you.
Yay.
And yeah, I think we have our second writer.
Hi everybody, it's so good to see you all again.
Yeah.
I have two pieces. The first is a poem, Broken Music Box. The music box failed decades ago. The ballerina doesn't pirouette anymore. I can still sing the tune she used to dance to when I was a child. She twirled and spun, loosely jointed legs flying up in the air under her dome. It didn't matter that mom was on a tear again, or dad's voice had gone falsetto, yelling that we were all leeches. I didn't mind that my brother had stopped eating, that dad threatened to clap him in the hospital if he lost another pound. I would forget my gnawing stomach ache. My ballerina that my grandmother gave me danced serenely, endlessly, gracefully. Now that the mechanism has died, I don't need her anymore because she dances in my head. My table is quiet. My husband and I read while we eat. No one yells or curses. No one's self-starving. We don't need music playing all the time. We can just eat and read in silence. Thank you. And then my second piece was a poem, but my online critique group told me that it was really prose. So it's now prose. A many-gendered thing. At 12, 4'11" and 79 pounds, My hip and chest circumferences were 2 inches bigger than my waist. I'd been smallest and youngest in the class since first grade. But at 13, I exploded upward, discovered the power of a naked midriff. At 14, I grew gangly, boy crazy, bruised hips doing the bump, felt something forbidden, dancing with a girl in PE. Just before I turned 15, my period finally arrived. Boys fluttered around. I was the light over a door. I went to college a week after I turned 17. The other freshmen looked like adults. I was clearly still a skinny, tiny-breasted child. Wide-shouldered, narrow-hipped, and leggy, I wanted the hard planes and muscles of a male body. Every story I wrote was first-person male narrated. If it had been 2019 instead of 1979, would I have made a transition? Would I have declared myself non-binary? Would I have found a woman to love? We'll never know. Still, with boys swarming, I chose one for freshman year, another for the rest of college, then finally a man the summer I turned 20, married, 16 years my senior. I climbed on his lap, declared, "I'm glad I was born a woman for you." That turned out to be a mistake. But I stayed a woman, grew hips, breasts, got used to the weight of a man, made love to several women. Now, my masculinity lost in roles of estrogen producing fat, partners of various genders later, I'm more or less comfortably cis. But when you say those terrible things about trans people, it's me you attack. It's my loves you could get killed. It is I who yells, "Back off, motherfucker. You will not harm a hair on that boy's head, BOI, or disturb the sleep of that trans goddess tonight. I stand in the door with a flaming sword of story, ready to cut out your heart and feed it to my lionesses." Oh, thank you. I wanted to invite everybody in TV land to Lit Hop. Kristen made these beautiful flyers and maps, which I'm going to pass around here, but you can also find them on the Lit Hop, Hayward Lit Hop website. So Google Hayward Lit Hop. It's next weekend, April 30th on Sunday, pretty much all afternoon and into the early evening. We're going to be having a 3-leg lit crawl with an after party, and I hope to see some of you there. I'm going to be reading for Kristen along with Keith, and who else is reading with us? Terry Tierney, and there's going to be a guest, special guest, so please come. I'm going to pass flyers out here. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that it's very close to the BART station for anyone who doesn't drive, so I thought that was good to know.
Yes, thank you. And we have a sign up sheet, and Henry Hitz is next up. So thank you, Henry.
So, hello everybody. I'm going to read the first part of my forthcoming novel, The New Book of Thoth. It's a prologue titled Henry and Thoth. Henry slumped at his laptop in his man cave, desperate for inspiration. He prayed for his story. He lit a candle for his writerly ritual. He rolled and lit a joint of Jack Harar sativa, popped open a Negro Modelo, and took deep breaths to the count of 7, one for each of his chakras, kegling his anus with each inhalation. He played Ravi Shankar ragas on his iPhone as he recited from the Egyptian Book of the Dead. O God of all language, Father of all stories, friend of the scholar and scribe, the writer and the reckoner, God of the word and all its might, a resounding nothing came to him. He stared at the earthquake vulnerable shelves of books, most of which he hadn't read. A mediocre has-been writer, he published a couple of books over the years to indifferent response. He stared at souvenir shop idols of Thoth, the Egyptian god of writing, one as a ponderous baboon, another as a humanoid ibis, his muse. To Thoth I offer my praise. Stander at the scale, holder of the stylus, chronicler of deeds good and ill, yours it is to watch and record. After 45 minutes, he lost it. He screamed, "This is bullshit," and swept away at the idols, the candle, the book of the dead off his desk, the book with pages like parchment burst into flame. Crying inwardly at the waste, he poured what was left of his beer on the fire, which extinguished it with a dramatic hiss, but left a lingering stench. The moon headdress broke off of the ibis-headed statue of Thoth. "Damn, I'm so clumsy," he shouted. He closed his eyes. Random images lit up his inner space, dream images, disconnected one from all his dreams he'd forgotten upon waking. Scaring him, the image began to swirl with a thumping sound, as if the Gustinato had a flat tire. The water spout spun through his consciousness, deleting other thoughts and feelings as if they were files he'd carelessly failed to save. Sobbing, he dropped his hands onto the keyboard, the way the planchette moves on the keyboard, period. Sorry. The way the planchette moves on a Ouija board, as some alien spirit pulls through his arms. Yeats conjuring a vision, his fingers typed. "Hello again, Henry." "Thoth? You called? I've been really busy." "Doing what? I thought you were hibernating." "Trying to save the fucking earth." "That sounds like a worthwhile thing to do. How are you going to do that?" "Are you looking for a story?" "Matter of fact, I am." "As messenger of the gods, I've been roaming the earth of late, assessing the status of the human experiment. What I've seen is alarming." "How so?" "Ever since Jehovah's coup over the polytheistic gods, humankind has been on a trajectory toward that apocalypse that his disciple John predicted at the end of that unreadable book that he, Jehovah, dictated." "Okay, I can see the problem. Doom has been in the air for some time now. Dystopia is the new pet rock." "We gods were invented to protect the humans. I want to wake up some of the other old polygods and see if we can disrupt Jehovah's narrative. How can I help?" "Can you take dictation?" "I need a scribe to get our story out to humankind." "I can do that." "Would you mind if I translated your story into modern English?" "I'd rather you didn't, but if you insist." "I do insist. I want it in my contract that I can provide my own sensibility, diction, and language to the narrative." "Damn, Henry, you drive a hard bargain. As desperate as you are, but okay, do your worst. I can always smite you."
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's up to you.
I love the how can I help? Do you take dictation? That cracked me up.
Yeah, thank you, Henry. Next up, we have Hannah Pisha. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Hannah Pesha, and I'm going to read a little bit from a memoir that I'm working on. Dented, dusty, and sometimes rusty cans of soup and vegetables line the pantry shelves. These would be mixed with a bounty of farm fresh vegetables that would be overflowing in my arms as the farmer stacked leeks like logs. Once, or maybe more than once, I showed up to the sowed fields tripping, and the farmer became a merry prankster, juggling rutabagas and laughing at my perplexity. The vegetables went into bags, the bags went with me, and I climbed onto the long yellow school bus for the seaside drive from Mendocino to Albion. There was a small house with peeling paint at the top of the hill in the town of Albion proper. It was blue and white and neat as a pin. I remember there was a Sega Genesis and a Sonic the Hedgehog to spin over obstacles. Anyway, I concocted my health hazard stews on the range while watching reruns of Northern Exposure on the grainy television. Sometimes I could get MTV, oddly, and would watch gyrating leather-clad metalheads. November Rain was me and Toby's songs, embarrassingly enough. It is what we danced to at the Fort Bragg prom. Toby was this guy who admired me and Peggy equally, Peggy being my doppelganger on the swim team, who often was assumed to be my lesbian lover. Something about our inseparability and me yelling in Dodge Jordan's face, "I'm a faggot," whenever he made fun of skinny boys in gym. Toby was in musicals, Grease, The Pirates of Penzance. He loved to dress up and sing. He was wholesome. My mother liked him. But he was very picky about my punk appearance, wild as safety pins. My hair was too ratted for him to run his fingers through. But I liked seeing him on opening night and going out for malts after the show with the cast. Sometimes I would be a ticket taker. Anyway, the stews would be bubbling away, and I knew it was a form of punishment for getting my Torah portion wrong. I was 15 and should not have been solely responsible for starting a soup kitchen. At the appointed time for supper, 6 p.m., the local drunks would wander in. Trey was a regular. He liked to talk about his hemorrhoids and carried around a bucket with a donut cushion to sit on. He had lived in the Caribbean and raised iguanas, so he had said. Now he was a fisherman. One time, my friend Jillian came to help me cook and brought her pet iguana, Dazed and Confused, or Daisy for short, to the soup kitchen. Trey couldn't wait to demonstrate his iguana whispering. Daisy was irate at being removed from a countertop pile of leeks and rutabagas, which she had been eating with lunging moves, more like a T-Rex than anything. Trey cradled Daisy with a mother's love, and Daisy bit him on the cheek. Jillian and I were tripping in a gas, totally unprepared for this turn of events. The stew bubbled, a bean and kale concoction with cream of mushroom, questionably canned. That day I recall. Trey dislodged Daisy and returned her to the mound of chopped vegetables, but had a perfect ring of little teeth marks on his face. It's okay, he raved through the vodka fumes. I've had much worse back in Barbados. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, next up, we have Alan, I want to say you're Nick Barnett. Nick Barnett. Okay, okay. But welcome, Alan. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. I tell people I didn't make up the name, but you know, there's so few of us, I might as well have. Hi, thanks so much for, oh gosh, it's beautiful here, by the way. This is a part of my first novel, and this is the first time I've ever read it off of my cell phone, so please bear with me. It's a tiny piece, don't worry, not too long. Chapter 1, The One Chosen. Why me? Anuis thought. He was but a child, and it was such a great honor. Instead of asking aloud, he hid behind the fine gauze of his mother's shawl. Even so, he could not escape the stranger's gaze. His father babbled before the wealthy men. More tea? No, my daughter will serve you coffee. Please, please, sit, please. That you would set my son above all others, successor to the one living. Glory to God, God be praised. Oh, glory, the honor shone upon his whole family, thought the boy. But why was his mother's hand cold and damp? Why was she shaking? Would that his grandfather had been alive. He had known the one now living. Yes, he had known the one now living in his youth. Even so, who would have thought that this would come to our small family? Here, so far from the capital, please eat. And here's my daughter. Anuis felt chilled in the stranger's gaze, despite the warmth of the sun at the entryway. Though his sister had now set up the coffee ceremony and his father fluttered about the room, and even one of the family's young goats stuck its head into the open doorway, that gaze did not waver. Oops, something happened. Okay, I don't know if you guys can still see me.
You can wait till they come back if you want.
I don't know if they've left.
I think you just drop out every once in a while and they usually come back in about 30 seconds.
Okay, it says Zoom.
We're okay.
We're here.
Are you-
We're still
yeah,
here.
we're watching.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Yeah, keep going.
okay, thanks.
Bit of a delay.
The three strangers sat upon the family's scarce furniture, their gold charms catching the light and shimmering in the shadowy confines of the mud brick home, while two of the men had warmed to his father enough to respond with stiff nods in intervals to at his constant prattle. One stared at the boy with an intensity matched only by Anuis's own dark eyes. Their robes pooled about them, flowing along the floor's dust to the edges of the wall. As the smell of the coffee filled the air, sound drained from the room. Even Anuis's father fell silent, except for the rasp of his hands ringing against each other. Soon the thin stream of liquid dribbling into the tiny cups and the mewling of the goats outside the door were the only things Anuis could hear above his own heart. We must go, now. prepare the boy. And with these few words, Anuis's life became like none other. Why him was a common question asked at the private school in Nairobi years later. Young men of privilege enjoyed their status here at the best schools in Kenya. Many had known each other all their lives, mingling in the nation's highest social circles. To them, this Aksumite boy stood out like a cat among foxes. At the end of the day, a casual observer would see handsome, healthy boys in identical uniforms. The only obvious difference would be skin color. While most were of the golden tan of the Amara, some few ranged to the blue-black sheen of the Mercy. Even so, they appeared as brothers in that each had the identical air of having never known want in this land of struggle and having never doubted their own elite status. That Anuis could move among this herd nearly indistinguishable was a testament to his growing skills in deception. Even his fellow students were not so tricked. Even though his fellow students were not so tricked. Anuis, lacking the happy distractions of the family he would never see again, and though burdened by high expectations from his caregivers, was a star student. While he missed his home country, he understood that his very life depended on his identity being kept secret. His people would spare no expense to educate him, and the one now living would spare no expense to erase him, the one to be, from eternity. There was only one amulet, and only one could hold it. And the day would come when he would take that fate into his own hands. I'm gonna stop there.
Whoa.
But thank you.
Right, yeah.
It's a time traveling story, and at this point is a major flashback. This is almost 70 years before this tale that we follow.
Thank you. Thank you, Ellen. And yeah, that's everyone who signed up to read for the open mic in person. But Karma, I don't know if anyone there on Zoom wants to also read.
Yeah, Akila, it sounds like Akila has a poem to share. But I don't know can you guys
Okay.
hear us, or should we just share amongst ourselves?
No, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear it. We can hear.
All right. In that case, I am going to spotlight. I'm going to spotlight you, Akila. Are you ready? All right, Akila's up.
Hey everyone. Hey, I think I can hear you guys.
Yeah.
It's so cool that we have access to technology. Okay, so I'm from Solano County, Vallejo. I grew up in Vallejo, and right now I'm living in Las Vegas, Nevada. But I didn't really have a really good relationship with Vallejo, and if it wasn't for the amazing poet laureate D.L. Lang, and she was the emeritus Vallejo emeritus poet laureate, and then the current Benicia poet laureate Mary Susan Gass, I probably wouldn't have came back to visit. So I'm just really grateful for poet laureates and what they have, what they bring to the community. I'm going to share with you, I'm sorry you guys aren't going to be able to see my face for those who are in Zoom, but I'm going to share with you a poem that was published in the Benicia Herald, June 23rd, I think it was 2021. And it was during, the pandemic. So this is called Rooted, and it definitely goes with Kristen's, Kaven's talk today. Rooted. Today, as I sit in my walker, waiting for my ride, the rustling trees tease a sense of calm to my being. Nature has something to say and urges me to listen. But there's a tug of war raging within, fire burning. It festers like hot coals. An ulcer has mestetized oozing goo to the root. The wind wants to blow it all away, waiting for another day. But days are short, and my patience is waning. I just want to write about nature and trees and find family lines on ancestor.com because they're still waiting to be recognized, given what's due. 40 acres and a mule, reparations seem so far. Seeds don't have a clue how to grow. If the powers all around have something to say, the future bleeds death and evil continues to corrupt. How many stories must we tell for people to really listen? And this is another one that was published as well in the, I think it was the Times Herald and the Benicia Herald. I can't remember when it was published, but it's there. And this is like a month into the pandemic. The audacity of water, and it comes from a prompt. Today on my walk, I heard the trickle of water. It's funny how its sound moves me to do anything I choose. The frigid wetness tickles my bones when they just want to be still. Mornings when I want to stay in, mostly because depression slowly creeped in, water calm. Worry, panic, and fear of the unknown slowly melts away. See the pine trees wrestle with the wind? The way my baby blows the wishing flower and watches bubbles flow by. Although we are dying, nature still lives. And that's a reason to hope again. The end.
All right, Susan, do you have anything that you want to share? Gary, anything you want to share? I have a poem I could share. I couldn't find the printout for it, but I found a recording of it. Is really on topic, but I'll just share this one. It's about how, we all feel so powerless in the face of climate change, but I'm still working on it. But, so feel free to have any critiques. It's called This Poem Can't Save the World. This poem is a silk lasso of truth. I am a greenhouse of suffering. My body absorbs the cries of starving children, but it does not feed them. My body glows and reflects sunlight. My body aches and projects suffering. My body is a container for the irradiated plutonium dropping on Iraq. My blood is the blood that pours from Iraqi eyes when the uranium shells explode. My pulse counts the countdown of the last age of easy Americans. I pick the final remains of the polar bear out of my teeth after dinner. My breast milk could kill the last penguins. My breast milk is poison, but built of half the fish in the oceans. This poem can't save the world, not even if you plant a tree for every vowel. There is carbon sequestered under my fingernails. There is CO2 in my leaky joints. I am collecting carbon with every inhale. The fruit of my womb is a nightmare of the future. When my water breaks, a village in Zambia will go without water for 3 days. My spandex suit is a magical gift fabricated by girlish Chinese hands in a faraway factory. I am so clean you cannot see my humanity. I have washed away my ancestors. I stand alone on the mountain peak, brightly colored, bold, cape blown, face stern, with my back to shanty towns. Not even the truth will set us free. I am sorry. I am so sorry. There is only rope enough for the gallows. It's so dark. We should have ended. We should play to another one more. She'll be happy.
That's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
Karma, what are you doing next? What are you doing next Saturday?
I don't know. Is that when the hop is?
Read that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that would. We would all give up another minute so that we could fit you in for a reading called Embodied.
Yeah, I found out it's close to the BART, so I'm way more likely to go. I would love to go. Yeah.
So I know the spaces.
And
The beta groups.
the beta groups. Cool.
Which is being organized by Aldrin and Stefan.
Okay, wait a minute. So everybody, let's first thank all the poets,
Yay.
all the readers.
Yes. And Henry. Yeah, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So there's a couple more announcements, if that's okay, Karma.
I love it. Do it.
That was exciting. Okay, so two things. Next Saturday is the Hayward Lit Hop, and Christina Deptula has organized the whole thing, and there's a bunch of different readings, and there's going to be one that's featuring mostly CWC writers, and it's called Embodied, and it's at the yoga studio. And then Ellen, start over.
The Afro-Surrealist Writers Workshop of Oakland is going to be reading at 4 o'clock at, what's the name? It's an LGBTQ, I have it. At 4 o'clock, but also the beta readers are reading at 5 o'clock at the Craft Studio, which I think is called Arena. Look it up on the web, and the beta readers have space. They have 2 more slots still available. So get in contact with Adrian Estepa. If you have trouble reaching him, contact me. I'll put you in contact. Sorry, the Afro-Surrealists are at the world famous Turf Club at 4 p.m.
Yeah,
At 4 to 4:45. And the
Are you reading with them?
I am. Yay. Thanks. And but the beta readers are at 5 o'clock at, it's a new craft studio, so even if you know Hayward, it might take a little looking for.
It's sad that both of the readings are at 4. The Afro-Surrealist and Embodied are both at 4. But
Wear sneakers and run.
Yes. Read afterwards. That sounds good.
I believe in time travel. You can be at many of these.
Ellen,
Keep having
Ellen, make sure
Keep
you,
having-
Ellen, email that to Right Angles, and we'll see if we can get it in the newsletter right quick, and I'll put it on our calendar.
Okay.
And that email again is rightangles@gmail.com. Right angles with a W. So 2 more announcements. These are in the arts. One is I'd like you guys to meet an amazing illustrator. This is my friend Rosie. Raise your hand. And I'm just, if you're looking for an
Illustrator, probably.
she has an incredible artistic stuff to share it with you. She drew this like the half hour I left her alone.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure if you can. I'm going to pass this around. So, and then one more. So that's Rosie.
Uh-oh, she's frozen.
And then one more thing. When we came up here to the park today, Dale Risden, who is the president of Friends of Walking Miller Park, and like today's Walking Miller, he and his partner Patrick, who created the arts in the park and are trying to work on artistic things up in the park, which includes me and us being here. They have a vision. They have a vision for the writers for the fire circle. Since you can't make fires in the park, they are going to rename it the California. Is everybody listening? The California Writers Circle. This right here? No, not this right here, but our other space down there. And we showed up to plans. They're calling it a rostrum. They're going to turn the barbecue, and I'll send these up. They're going to turn the barbecue into a stage.
Oh, yeah.
So how great is that?
Nice.
All right. All right. So this has been great. Thanks everybody for being here and for doing this. This is really fun.
Do we have the date?
Any last words?
Yes, I'd like to announce the date, please, for we have the book launch coming up next month. So I just want to make sure that folks are aware of that. It's usually
Wait, we have the
go ahead.
you're thinking of June.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Next month is May. We're gonna have our
panel. Right, third Sunday, presumably. And then the book launch will be the third Saturday. So Saturday, June 18th, I believe. So you guys can go ahead and mark your calendar for the book launch. And if you had a book that came out this year, please contact me or just contact anybody on the board. Contact CWC and let us know, because we want to promote you at our book launch. or potentially if we, you know, if it works out, if we get enough interest, we'll put it together an anthology for anyone who attends, an anthology, like a chapter from your book. So if you had a book that came out this year or even close to the end of last year, if you didn't get to read for your new book last year, please let us help promote you at our book launch.
Are we, and we don't know yet. Sandy, have you thought if that's going to be live or on Zoom or a hybrid?
Oh yeah, I don't think we should make that decision now.
I don't think we know yet, but
Yeah.
but well.
All
Sandy,
right.
do you need any help from the masses while you were talking, while you're here?
I think Sandy stepped away for a minute, but
Okay,
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna work on that.
okay, okay, cool. And then, do we know yet what the panel's gonna be in May, or if that's gonna come together?
I don't know. And I don't know. I just wanted to let folks about the book launch because I don't know what the panel is. Sorry.
But before our May meeting is Bay Area Book Festival.
Oh
Right.
yes, yeah, we'll be doing that. Mhm, we'll have a
Something
table.
about that?
Oh yeah, yeah, May 7th and 8th. Yeah, May 7th and 8th, Saturday and Sunday is the Bay Area Book Festival in downtown Berkeley. It's at Martin Luther King Jr. Civic Center Park, and the California Writers Club is having a booth there where you can and I'm still looking for volunteers, and I have a sign-up sheet, and there's still a few volunteer slots available, and we're just want to attract new members and tell people about all the amazing things going on with the California Writers Club. So if you're interested, you can definitely reach out to me, and we can go from there.
And if you volunteer, you can sell your book there. If you
Yeah.
have a seller's license.
Yes.
All
I
right.
know
folks.
somebody who
Yes.
does. Talk to me.
Yeah. Talk to Kristen about that. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, you guys. This sounds like it's been a beautiful Sunday and beautiful weather here, beautiful weather in California. And thanks for taking some time to think about your writing and the earth and being sustainable.
Thank you, Karma. Thank you, everybody. We- Bye. Bye, everybody.